if you'll start the, thank you. Good evening and welcome. This is a regular meeting of the Princeton Planning Board on September 21st, 2023. Pursuant to Section 13 of the Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice of the time and place of this meeting has been given by prominently posting the resolution of regularly scheduled meetings of the Planning Board of Princeton for February 2023 through January 2024. A copy was filed with the Clerk of Princeton on January 17th, 2023. Legal notice on the adoption of said resolution was published in the January 13th, 2023 edition of the Princeton Packet. Notice of this meeting also has been posted to the municipal website, princetonnj.gov/calendar. Notice that all regular and special meetings of the Princeton Planning Board will be held electronically via Zoom, was transmitted to the Princeton Packet and the Times, and was filed with the Clerk of Princeton on Tuesday, January 17th, 2023. Since we don't have a hearing tonight, I won't read those paragraphs about public comment and all. So I think that will suffice for the opening statement, and we can commence with a roll call. Carrie.
Ms. Capizzoli?
Here.
Mr. Chow?
Here.
Mr. Cohen?
Here.
Mr. McGowan?
Here.
Mr. O'Donnell?
Here.
Mr. Quinn?
Here.
Ms. Sachs? Mr. Texarney?
Here.
Mr. Taylor? Mr. Boddigheimer?
Here.
Mrs. Wilson?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Announcements. Justin?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair, and good evening, Planning Board members and members of the public. I have quite a few events. I'll try to keep it quick, revolving around the master plan. The first was that today I had two good meetings, one to start my day and one to finish my day. The first was with Sustainable Princeton's Board of Directors to give them an update on the master plan progress and answer some questions. More importantly, it reinforced all the overlaps that we have with Sustainable Princeton. Obviously, Christine Symington, their executive director, is on the master plan steering committee, as is also your colleague, Council President Sachs. And Brian McDonald is the Council President Sachs is the council liaison to Sustainable Princeton. Brian McDonald, who is on the Board of Ed, is the Board of Ed liaison to Sustainable Princeton, and he's also representing them on the Master Plan Steering Committee. And also to my left at that meeting was Gail Ullman, longtime member of the Planning Board. So it was great to see her, and she sent a really nice note after about the master plan process. My other meeting today was with our consultants, Clark Caton Hintz, and the Long Range Facilities Committee of the Board of Ed, really to discuss the Board of Ed's kind of goals and how that relates to particularly the community facilities element. So since I mentioned Sustainable Princeton, I will also give them a plug for the E-Commuter Fest tomorrow from 4 to 7 at the Princeton Shopping Center again. I know it moved last year, but it's back at the shopping center. Ian Henderson, our senior planner, and myself will be there with the table to discuss the master plan, if anyone's interested in stopping by. You could also, I think, test drive a plug-in Jeep Wrangler too. So feel free to talk to me or do that, or test drive an e-bike or whatever else. And then, so the master plan listening sessions are coming to an end. They've been occurring over these past 2 weeks, and we've had some great conversations throughout town. Most recently, yesterday was at the high school with a lot of parents of high school students. Saturday, we'll have the final one that we have scheduled at Monument Hall in the main room there, the former Borough Hall, and that'll be noon on Saturday. And then that leads us to next week. Next Wednesday, we have the master plan open house at 400 Witherspoon in the main room from 4 to 7, like the open house we had last November. You could stop in at any point. It's not there's no formal presentation. We're not going to keep you there for 3 hours. If you want to stay, feel free to, but it's going to be one with boards around the room. And this one's notable because we're starting to show the big themes that will be in the master plan throughout the various elements. So please join us next Wednesday night, the 27th, from 4 to 7 at Monument Hall.
Mr. Quinn.
Oh no, excuse me. I meant at Witherspoon Hall.
Witherspoon Hall.
Yeah.
Thank you. I just kudos to Justin. I was fortunate enough to attend 2 of the listening sessions, and I thought that they were well run, and the dialogue from residents was great. A lot of but both at the virtual one and at the one in my neighborhood, there were a lot of faces who I didn't recognize, which was a good thing. And I thought the level of, there was a lot for Justin to listen to, and Mr. Chow was at the Riverside one too, along with Mr. O'Donnell. So we had our listening ears on, but well done, Justin.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to add a couple thoughts about these listening sessions. I've been to all but one, and they really have been so good. There's so much good comment and insight from all different kinds of folks, including people who we really just almost never hear, whose voices we don't hear. And I'm thinking particularly of the Spanish language one. Owen was there as well. And were you there too, Tim? I'm sorry if I'm missing anybody. Anyway, Saturday at the same time as the listening session at Monument Hall, we're going to do a little more outreach to the Spanish language community at the weekly mobile food pantry. So Liliana Morenillo and I will be there. I mean, I'm going to be there just doing what minimal things I can do, like taking notes after things are translated for me. But because we didn't have a ton of time with the Spanish language session at Witherspoon Church, Presbyterian Church. But as I said, a lot of really good information and insight. And as far as the online one, the Zoom, the virtual session, I was really pleased with how well the use of the chat function blended with the oral comments that people had. It just generated, it generated a degree of conversation, and back and forth that was surprising and was, completely civil, although not uniform in terms of what everybody thought or was, any people's perspectives and opinions. Anyway, it just worked really, really well, and it was well organized and well controlled, for lack of managed, it's a better word, by Justin. So yeah, thanks for all of those. It's been a really good experience, those listening sessions. So yeah, next week, I'm looking forward to that open house, and I hope everybody can be there. Are there other announcements from staff or board members? If not, we'll go right on to subcommittee reports. Julie?
All right, I have one. Yeah, the minor site plan committee met on Wednesday, September 20th. And we reviewed a small kitchen addition to Princeton University's Center for Jewish Life. And we recommended approval as a minor site plan. And Justin, if you want to talk about the process that happens now, that'd be great.
Yes, thank you, Julie. So per our ordinance, the next step would be for the applicant, the university in this case, to notice the neighbors within 200 feet and provide notice in the newspaper, at which point there's a 10-day period for written objections or comments to send the application to the full board. So that'll be happening shortly. We've sent out their letter telling them how to do that and what exactly has to be in there just today. So I imagine that'll go out next week in one of the papers.
Great. And I think we had a landscape meeting since the last meeting, didn't we? Or was that before the last meeting? We did, didn't we, David?
I think we did. I'm trying to remember what we reviewed.
Parentown, or not,
Mount Lucas Properties.
Mount Lucas, yeah.
Right.
I'm forgetting the number. Street number.
701.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carrie. Yeah, so, our landscape consultant reported that most of the conditions of the approval had been fulfilled with the resubmissions from the applicant. There was a little bit of conversation about, whether we can and should have a mix of evergreen species as opposed to a single species, minor items like that. But the end result was the committee was satisfied and recommended approval or that the applicant had completed the requirement to present to the landscape subcommittee, and we approved of what was presented.
Right. Great. I think that's it for subcommittee reports, unless I'm missing something. Okay. Next up, we have minutes. We have minutes from the regular meeting of April 20th. Are there any, Mr. Cohen?
No, I was just going to move approval of the minutes.
Okay. Mr. Cohen moved those minutes. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Bodekheimer. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
We don't
Aye.
typically roll on minutes, right? I don't know why I get confused about that, but resolutions, yes, minutes.
Resolutions would be a roll. Minutes would
Got
be,
it.
could be a voice.
And has been.
Yes.
Good. Great, thank you. So next up is an application from which I am recused. So I'm going to turn off my camera and ask that Carrie move me to the attendees room and hand the gavel virtually over to Mr. Quinn. Thanks.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good evening, colleagues. Tonight's application is Landwind Development, preliminary and final major subdivision and site plan 725 and 823 Herringtown Road and 915 Mount Lucas Road. Block 1001, lots 1, 2, and 14. The file number is P1818-648 SPF. And I will ask Mr. Muller to, the board has jurisdiction. I'll ask Mr. Muller to update us on what we are going to do tonight.
Okay, yeah, the board had previously taken jurisdiction. And tonight we're just going to basically carry it, the application to date certain. There will not be further notice to the public because we're carrying it right now. And that's the notice.
Thank you, Mr. Muller. So for colleagues who are hearing Landwind, the dates, the 3 dates that are set aside are November 2nd, December 6th, and December 14. We did pledge to, if possible, get a vote on this application by year's end. So we'll see how things proceed. and make a determination about a possible additional meeting before the end of the year. So in other words, keep December 21st and whatever the last Thursday in December is open if possible. Don't change
Unfortunately,
any.
I'm not sure if staff is available the last week.
Oh,
So it
okay.
would just be the
Be the-
third if we have to do it at
20
all.
The 21st. Thank you,
Yes.
Terry. So just keep that in mind. I'm hopeful that we will be able to wrap this up at the meeting on December 14th. Mr. Cohen,
Yeah, so just to be super clear, we're carrying this to a date certain, which is
November
November-
2nd.
November 2nd. Thank you.
We're going to carry it to November 2nd, December 6th, and December 14th.
Well, I mean,
The
while we
last
set
two-
those dates aside, we don't know, aside from
Okay.
November 2nd, that we may not need all 3 dates. right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. So we'll just hear it on the 2nd, and if we need to carry it, we'll carry it.
Mr. Cohen is leaving in the possibility that we would wrap up on November 2nd, which point well taken. However, we are committed to those 3 dates since we have multiple witnesses who are appearing for both the applicant and objectors, and everything's lining up for those dates. So any further questions about that matter? All right, there being none, we don't need to take any formal action, so I will accept a motion to adjourn.
So
Councilman
moved.
Cohen typically
So
makes
moved.
that. Did someone
Yes.
jump? Did someone jump Councilman Cohen on that?
I'm sorry, that was.
Oh, it's okay. It was moved by Mr. Bottingheimer and seconded by Councilman
Oh,
Cohen.
no. If
One
I'm
of
breaking-
the
if I'm
august
breaking a streak,
traditions of this
I'm gonna
body
take it
may-
back.
All those in favor?
Uh,
Aye.
Aye.
No one is ever opposed to a motion to adjourn. All right. Thanks. See you at our next meeting.
Good night.
Good
Yeah.
night.
All right, thank you.
thank you.
Good night.